Welcome back to Horoscope TV. It is so good to have you here with us. We are looking up today, way up, diving straight into the cosmos.
It's good to be here.
I have to say, the energy for this specific analysis is it's absolutely electric. I'm joined, as always, by our resident astrological analyst. It is great to see you.
It is wonderful to be here, and you are absolutely right about the electricity. We have quite a bit of ground to cover today. The charts are lighting up in a way we haven't seen in a while.
We really do.
Yeah.
A ton to get through. Today, we are turning our telescope toward the sign of Leo.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically, we are looking at the forecast for February 2026. Now, I have been reading through the charts and the data you pulled, and look, if you're a Leo, or if you love a Leo, or even if you just work with a Leo, you need to pull up a chair.
For sure.
This isn't just a standard monthly forecast where we tell you you're going to have a good hair day. This feels, I don't know, like a movie script.
That is a very, very apt description. When we analyze the astrological data for Leo in February 2026, we are seeing a massive narrative arc.
A narrative arc. I like that.
It's not just a collection of random days or a list of planetary movements. It's a timeline. And it's a timeline that begins with a massive spotlight and ends with a significant test of patience. It has a beginning, a middle, and a very explosive end.
A test of patience for a fire sign. That sounds challenging. I feel like patience isn't usually the first word I associate with Leo energy.
Indeed. It is, arguably their biggest challenge. The central theme we're going to analyze today is this tension between the self and others.
Okay.
The month opens with a full moon right in Leo, which is all about the self-ego, identity, pride, all of that. But then it pivots. It pivots to a major solar eclipse in the opposite sign.
The opposite sign.
And then, just to keep things interesting, the month concludes with a very volatile aspect involving Mars and Uranus.
So the mission for this analysis is pretty clear then. We need to figure out how Leos can navigate this shift from that high personal energy, that real I am the star feeling, into these complex relationship dynamics, all without, blowing up their career or reputation when things get rocky at the end of the month.
Exactly. It is about navigating high highs and potential volatility. It's about shining without burning the house down.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with the general landscape, the major transits that are painting the sky for Leo this February. You mentioned a spotlight moment right at the start.
Yes. February 1st. We kick off the month with a full moon in Leo.
In their own sign.
In their own sign. Now, for the listener, we need to remember what a full moon actually represents in the mechanics of astrology. It represents a peak, a climax, a culmination. When it happens in your own sign, it is the emotional peak of your entire astrological year.
So day one of the month, Leos are just feeling it. This isn't a slow build-up.
No, not at all. They're feeling everything immediately. This puts Leo directly in the spotlight. The data shows a surge of emotion and a profound need to express the true self.
The true self.
It is not a time for hiding in the wings. Matters that are personal to the Leo native, they're reaching a climax. If there's been something bubbling under the surface regarding their identity or their personal desires, the lid is coming off on day one.
It sounds like a moment of real clarity, like looking in the mirror and finally seeing yourself clearly, maybe for the first time in a while.
It is. It is absolutely that. It's a moment where you feel ready to close one chapter and immediately start another. It is very empowering, but it is also very, very intense. You are vibrating at a high frequency right out of the gate. You are the protagonist of the movie. Everyone else is a supporting character on February 1st.
Okay, so that's the me part of the month. That's the I am the king or I am the queen moment. But then you mentioned a pivot point.
Correct. We move from the full moon on the 1st to a solar eclipse on February 17th. And this is crucial. This eclipse is happening in Aquarius.
Aquarius is the opposite sign to Leo on the zodiac wheel. Right.
Precisely. In astrology, the opposite sign represents the other. It represents relationships, partnerships, the audience, the public. So while the full moon was all about me and my needs,
This eclipse is about we.
this eclipse is fundamentally about we and our future. It's a complete 180.
That is a hard pivot in just 2 weeks. To go from total self-focus to total relationship focus, that's got to be whiplash.
It is a significant adjustment. A solar eclipse in the opposite sign signals a major new beginning in the relationship sector. The way you relate to others is changing.
For better or worse.
For better and for worse, potentially. The data suggests this could manifest as starting a significant new partnership or completely redefining an existing one. It's a cosmic recalibration of how Leo interacts with the world around them. It demands that they take their eyes off the mirror and look at the person standing across from them.
I want to get deeper into the relationship stuff in a bit, because that seems like a huge area. But I noticed there is a stabilizer in the mix. Amidst all this full moon emotion and eclipse change, there is something happening on Valentine's Day. How fitting.
Yes, and this is a real gift for Leos. On February 14th, Saturn enters Aries.
Aries is a fellow fire sign, so they get along, right? But I always think of Saturn as being so serious.
They do get along, and that's the key. Saturn is the planet of structure, discipline, and maturity. Having Saturn move into a fellow fire sign is fantastic because it stabilizes that Leo fire energy.
Ah, okay.
It prevents it from burning out of control. Specifically, this is happening in Leo's 9th house.
The 9th house. That's travel and education and big ideas.
It is. It covers higher learning, long-distance travel, and life philosophy. It's the house of the big picture. So Saturn here encourages Leos to get serious about these themes.
So what does that look like?
You might see Leos deciding to go back to school, or committing to a long-term study project, or perhaps planning a trip that isn't just for fun, but for learning or spiritual growth. It's about building something meaningful with their beliefs.
So in a really chaotic month, this is where they can find their footing.
Exactly. This is where they find their adult grounding. Their worldview is maturing. They aren't just reacting to things emotionally, they are seeking concrete answers to big questions. It provides a structural backbone to the month. It's the anchor.
Which sounds like they are absolutely going to need it, because the end of the month looks messy. What is happening with Mercury and Mars? I'm seeing a lot of red ink in the notes here.
Messy is a polite way to put it. We have two major factors causing confusion and volatility. First, Mercury enters Pisces on February 6th, and then it goes retrograde on February 26th.
Mercury retrograde.
Jado.
Of course. And for Leo, that's in the 8th house.
Correct. The 8th house. It rules intimacy, debts, shared resources. It's the house of transformation and deep psychological bonding.
Oh, that's a tough spot for a retrograde.
It's a very tough spot. So when the planet of communication goes back in the house of deep bonding and debts, you get complications. We were talking about unresolved deep conversations coming back up, or the need to review financial agreements.
Trust issues.
Trust issues can definitely surface here. It's like the fog rolls in right where you need clarity the most, in your most intimate connections in your finances.
And then just a day later, on February 27th, we have this Mars aspect.
Yes, Mars square Uranus. This is arguably the most dangerous aspect of the month for Leo.
Why dangerous?
Well, Mars is the planet of action and aggression. It's the gas pedal. Uranus is the planet of sudden chaotic change. It's the lightning bolt. A square is a clash. A 90-degree angle of tension.
And where is this clash happening in their chart?
It creates tension specifically in the career and reputation sector, the 10th house. The data warns that Leos might feel incredibly rebellious against authority or face a sudden, shocking conflict at work.
So the advice is, don't rage quit your job on the 27th.
Essentially, yes, that's the short version. It is vitally important to stay grounded. Do not let your ego drive your reactions, because the urge to just blow things up will be very, very strong. The fuse is very short on that day.
Okay, that is a lot for 1 month. A whole year's worth of drama, it feels like.
It really is.
But I want to zoom in on what the data implies is the main headline for February. It explicitly points to love being the main story.
It is. Despite all the career noise and that big full moon self-focus at the start, the solar eclipse in the 7th house of committed relationships makes love the dominant theme. You just cannot ignore an eclipse in your relationship sector. It's too powerful.
Let's break this down. A solar eclipse is a cosmic reset button. What does that actually mean for a Leo's love life in February?
It means the status quo is unlikely to survive. But, that can be a very good thing.
Okay.
For singles, the energy is ripe for meeting someone who changes your life suddenly. Eclipses tend to bring fated events.
Fated. So it's not just a casual date.
No, this is not a swipe right and forget about it situation. This is a person who shifts your trajectory. It's the kind of meeting where you feel like the ground shifts beneath you. Something feels important.
And for couples, what if you're already in a relationship?
For those already in relationships, this could mark a massive new chapter. We are looking at potential engagements, decisions to move in together, major life-altering milestones. A whole new level of commitment.
But there's a flip side, isn't there? With eclipses.
There always is. We have to look at the other side of the coin. Eclipses can also eclipse people out of your life.
Oh, right. If things aren't working, the universe just Takes care of it.
Exactly. If a relationship is weak, if the foundation is cracked, the eclipse might end it suddenly. But the astrological perspective on this is that it happens to make room for something better. It is a clearing of the decks. It's the universe sweeping away what isn't working to make space for what will.
That connects back to the full moon on February 1st. You mentioned passion.
Yes. The month starts with Leo feeling incredibly passionate and romantic due to that full moon. They want to be adored. They want to be appreciated.
Classic Leo.
It is. Their charisma is off the charts, and they are attracting attention everywhere. They are just emitting this magnetic glow. It's prime time for them to feel seen and celebrated.
But then, 10 days later, on February 10th, Venus enters Pisces. That feels like a mood shift.
A big one.
It is a significant shift. We go from the fire energy of look at me, adore me, to the water energy of Pisces, which says, merge with me.
Merge with me. That sounds intense. What's that actually look like in practice?
It is deep. Venus in Pisces deepens the desire for intimacy. Leos won't be interested in surface-level connections or just being a trophy partner anymore.
So they're over the performative stuff.
Completely. They want to merge souls. This transit favors deep, private moments over those big, public displays of affection that Leos are usually known for. It's less about the perfect Instagram photo and more about the vulnerable conversation you have at 2 a.m.
So we have this desire for soul merging, which sounds beautiful, but we also have that Mercury retrograde lurking at the end of the month. How does that, mess with the romance?
It introduces the risk of misunderstanding, big time. Since Mercury retrograde starts on February 26th in that same sector of intimacy, you might misunderstand your partner's deeper motives.
That's it. Well, old jealousies might resurface. You might misinterpret a text message or a glance and spiral into a whole story in your head that just isn't true.
Like ghosts from relationships past showing up.
Exactly. The charts warn that this is a time to heal past wounds, not to create new ones. You have to be so careful with communication. When Mercury is retrograde in a water sign like Pisces, logic often takes a back seat to emotion and intuition, which can be faulty.
And we can't ignore the Mars-Uranus clash on the 27th in the context of love, right? That has to have an effect.
No, we absolutely cannot. Even though that clash is technically happening in the career sector, the stress can easily bleed over. It's a classic case of work stress impacting home life. Mars squaring Uranus can cause a major clash between career and relationships.
I can see that. You come home stressed from a boss blowing up at you, and then you just take it out on your partner.
That is the classic scenario. The expert strategy here is compartmentalization. The stress from work leading to sudden, out-of-nowhere arguments at home is a real, tangible risk. You need to keep these two life areas separate to maintain peace.
So you have to be able to leave the chaos at the office door before you walk into your living room.
You have to, or at least announce it. I had a terrible day. I need a minute. Communication, even about the lack of communication, is key.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
Let's pivot to that career sector, because it sounds like there's a lot of activity there beyond just that one difficult day. You mentioned Uranus goes direct on February 4th in the 10th house.
Yes. The 10th house rules career and public status. When Uranus, the planet of change and freedom, goes direct there, it brings a sudden desire for freedom. It's like it wakes up.
The itch. You get the 7-year itch with your job.
The itch, exactly. Leos are going to feel tired of the routines, just bored. They will be craving authenticity in their work. They might decide to change career paths entirely or receive unexpected news from a boss. If they feel boxed in, they're going to want to break out of that box and fast.
So innovation is the key here. That's the way to handle that energy constructively.
Yes. Innovation is your best friend. The forecast says do not be afraid to pitch new ideas. You want to do something that feels real to you, not just punch a clock. Uranus rewards the bold and the unique. It punishes the stagnant.
But again, we have to talk about the long game. That Saturn in Aries seems to play a role in career too. It's not just about blowing things up.
It does. It plays a huge role. While Uranus is making you impatient and want to quit, Saturn enters on February 14th to remind you of the value of the long game. It suggests that furthering your education or traveling for work will build a solid foundation.
This is the slow burn success strategy.
It is. Amidst the chaos of Uranus, Saturn is saying, build expertise. That expertise will pay off later. Don't just jump ship, build a better ship. Use that 9th house energy to learn the skills you need for the next level. So maybe you don't quit, but you enroll in a course to help you pivot later.
Okay, let's revisit the match in a powder keg, February 27th. Mars square Uranus. We touched on this, but let's drill down. What are the specific risks for Leo's career?
The risk is extreme frustration with rules and restrictions. Mars is, I want to go, and Uranus is, I want to break free. And when they square off in a fixed sign, like Taurus, it is explosive. It's an authority clash, a you can't tell me what to do moment.
And for a Leo who prides themselves on reputation, that's dangerous.
An impulsive outburst could seriously damage that reputation. That is the core warning. You might be right in your anger, but the delivery could cost you. The world is watching the 10th house. It's your most public-facing sector.
And how does the eclipse factor into business? We talked about personal partnerships.
Since the eclipse is in the partnership sector, business partnerships are shifting too. It's all connected. You might sign a new contract with a client or, conversely, end a collaboration that just isn't working anymore. It's a restructuring of your professional alliances.
And there's a financial warning here too, right, with the retrograde.
Yes. With Mercury retrograde starting February 26th, you need to be very, very careful with business loans and tax matters.
Double check the numbers and then check them again.
Double check the numbers, read the fine print, don't sign anything major, do not agree to financial deals at work without a magnifying glass and maybe a lawyer.
Speaking of numbers, let's go into the money and finance breakdown. We have a lot of planets moving into the 8th house.
We do. This is the Pisces energy focusing on the 8th house of shared resources. Venus, the Sun, and Mercury all pile in there.
Can you clarify shared resources again? We aren't talking about a paycheck here.
No, this is not earned income from your job. That's the 2nd house. This is money that comes from outside sources. It's money that is entangled with other people.
Right.
Loans, scholarships, tax returns, or a partner's income. It's OPM, other people's money. Also inheritances, venture capital, things like that.
Okay, so it's complex money.
It is. And with Venus entering the sector on February 10th and the Sun on February 18th, the general vibe is actually quite positive initially. It might be easier to get approval for credit or funding. The flow is there. It feels like money is accessible.
But?
Yeah.
There's always a but. I'm sensing a theme for February.
The but is the retrograde. Mercury enters this same financial sector on February 6th and then goes retrograde on the 26th. This creates the retrograde complication.
Delays.
Confusion. All of the above. Delays in receiving funds, confusion regarding paperwork, the need to resubmit documents to banks or insurance companies. It just gets murky.
So you might think the check is in the mail.
But it got lost. Oh. Or you filled out Form 10A when you needed Form 10B. It's that kind of frustrating, detail-oriented mix-up.
So what is the strategy here? What do you do?
The strategy is this. It's a good time to review and plan your debt payoff, but a bad time to take on new debt.
Oh.
Review your debts, make a plan, consolidate if you can, but avoid signing new promissory notes if you can help it. Don't start a new financial story until Mercury goes direct.
And how does the volatile end of the month affect the wallet, that Mars-Uranus square?
The Mars-Uranus square on February 27th can bring a sudden, unexpected expense related to your business, or perhaps a temporary loss of income due to those career changes we discussed.
Like your car breaks down on the way to a crucial meeting, or an unexpected tax bill arrives.
Exactly. Or you quit your job and suddenly your income is zero. It's that level of unpredictability.
So don't spend the bonus before it actually hits the account.
Precisely. The safety net rule is in full effect. Do not spend based on promises of future earnings. Stick to a conservative budget, especially in that last week. The energy is just too unpredictable.
Let's shift gears a little to health and wellness. Sounds like Leos will need to be on top of this to manage all the stress. High energy start, right?
Very high. The February 1st full moon in Leo is a peak physical moment, a burst of vitality. It is a great time to show off the physical form. If you've been training, this is when you feel your strongest, your most alive.
But high energy can mean anxiety, can it? It can tip over into something less pleasant.
It absolutely can. You might feel wired, restless. The advice is to burn off that excess energy. Dance, exercise, move the body, go for a run. If you don't use that energy, it turns into anxiety. It turns into sleeplessness and irritability.
And mentally, how do you keep your head straight with all this going on?
Mentally, that Saturn in Aries transit on February 14th is a real blessing. It helps stabilize your thoughts. It is good for mental discipline, taking up a spiritual practice, meditation, or just some focused study. It gives the mind a constructive job to do.
But the eclipse, That sounds draining,
Yeah.
emotionally and physically.
Eclipses are exhausting.
Yeah.
The February 17th eclipse in the opposite sign means relationships are going to take a huge toll on your energy levels. There is a real danger of depletion from giving too much to others. You are processing so much emotional data from the people around you, their needs, their dramas, that you can completely forget to recharge yourself.
You just put on your own oxygen mask first.
You really, really do. And as we get to the end of the month, with all that Pisces energy activating the 8th house, the focus turns to deep healing. The reproductive system and deep psychological health are highlighted.
Therapy. This is a good time for that?
An excellent time for therapy or any kind of emotional release work. It is about purging the toxins, both physical and emotional, getting to the root of things.
And there was a specific physical safety warning for late February.
Yes, and it's tied directly to that Mars square Uranus aspect on the 27th. It increases the risk of accidents at work or in public.
Is this just, like, bad luck?
Mm-hmm.
Or is there a reason for it?
It is usually due to rushing. That's the key. Mars wants to go fast. Uranus is unpredictable. When you rush in that energy, you trip, you cut your finger, you're not paying attention, and you walk into a door.
So stress is the enemy.
Stress is the enemy here. You must release that tension before it manifests physically as an accident. Go to the gym, yell into a pillow, do something to get it out.
And one weird little detail. I saw a note about Uranus direct affecting specific body parts.
Yes, this is a more subtle point, but with Uranus stationing direct in Taurus, the data often points to sensitivities for Leos around the knees, teeth, and skin. Just something to be mindful of.
Knees, teeth, and skin. Got it.
Okay, this is good to know. Now let's get to the fun part, the toolkit. Compatibility and luck. Who is the best match for Leo this month? Who can help them navigate all this?
The best match, by far, is Aries.
Another fire sign. That makes sense. Why Aries specifically?
It is the synergy. It's how their energy aligns throughout the month. On February 1st, Aries matches that high full moon energy. They love the confidence Leo is projecting. They're not intimidated by it.
If they feed off it.
They do. Then, on February 14th, when Saturn enters Aries, it stabilizes the Aries partner. It gives them gravitas.
So they're fun but reliable, a rare combination.
Exactly. Reliable, but still bold. Then, during the eclipse on the 17th, an Aries partner encourages Leo to take the necessary risks in relationships. And when Leo gets emotional with all that Pisces energy, Aries has the drive to pull them out of the slump.
It's a power couple dynamic.
A total power couple dynamic.
Yeah.
Aries complements Leo's creativity with drive and action. They get things done together. Okay, and who should Leo's, maybe, take a little break from in February? Who is the worst match?
Scorpio.
Oof. The other fixed sign. Why?
It is a fixed sign collision. Both Leo and Scorpio are incredibly stubborn. They dig their heels in and neither will budge.
And Scorpio is so secretive, while Leo is the opposite of secretive.
Leo wants everything out in the light. Scorpio wants to keep things in the dark, in the depths. On February 9th, there is a last quarter moon in Scorpio that could bring up old grudges and secrets.
Not a good vibe.
Not at all. Then during the eclipse, Scorpio tends to react with jealousy or control, while Leo is craving freedom and a new start.
And the end of the month must be a nightmare.
The Mars-Uranus square on the 27th, that is an explosive argument just waiting to happen. Leo feels dimmed and controlled. Scorpio feels Leo is being superficial and reckless. It is just. It's best to avoid that combination this month. Give each other some space.
Noted. Avoid the Scorpios, find an Aries. What about the lucky specs for our Leo listeners?
Okay, grab your pen. The color of the month is gold.
Classic Leo, of course it is.
Very fitting. If you need a specific code for it, it's #FFD700.
And the best dates to watch.
February 1st for that full moon power, February 17th for the new beginnings of the eclipse, and February 28th right after the storm for a bit of clarity.
And the lucky numbers?
The numbers are 1, 5, 10, 19, 28, and 55.
55. A good number. Okay, we have covered a massive amount of ground. From the intense spotlight of the full moon to the relationship reset of the solar eclipse and that very volatile career situation at the end.
It is a month of deep, profound transformation. Nothing will be quite the same on March 1st as it was on February 1st.
If you had to leave our Leo listeners with one final thought, one thing to meditate on for February 2026, they go through all of this, what would it be?
I would say this. The month asks Leo to balance the king or queen energy of that full moon with the humility required by the eclipse and the retrograde. So the real question for them is, can you shine without burning those around you? Can you navigate the changes in your relationships without losing your own light, but also without dominating the other person with it? It's about shared light, not just a solo spotlight.
That is a powerful question. Can you shine without burning? I love that. That's something for everyone to think about, really.
It is the essential Leo challenge, crystallized in 1 month.
Well, Leos, you have your mission. Thank you so much for breaking all of this down for us. This was incredibly insightful.
It was my pleasure.
And thank you to you, the listener, for tuning in to Horoscope TV. We hope this analysis helps you navigate the cosmic tides of February. If you enjoyed this analysis, please consider subscribing so that you can get notified when the next episode is available. Until next time, keep looking up.